Okay, welcome to UTA's Ultimate Indie Show. I'm your host, Daniel Velasquez. Thank you so much for listening. I'm joined today by Kevin Drew and Brendan Canning, members of the Canadian band Broken Social Scene. Their latest album, Hug of Thunder, was released back in July. It's their first album in 7 years, and you can pick it up on Spotify, iTunes, as well as the website, brokensocialscene.ca.
Record shop, Daniel.
Or your local record
shop.
We love local music here at UTA.
Thank you.
Guys, thank you so much for giving me a few minutes, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right, so you guys have been around for a while, so just kind of give me a condensed version. How did you guys get started?
Well, Brendan courted me. I was a young little whippersnapper, and I was a big fan of Brendan. He was a star in our town. He had a band called Head, and I loved them. And I would see him around, and then he was in a band called By Divine Right, and I loved them. And I would see him around, and he was a DJ. And we had met when I was 19, and I made a couple of records with a band member of ours named Charles Spearin. And quite literally, a friend named Richie Curitan played him one of my albums, and Charlie and I's albums, and he called me and he said, "Do you want to make some music together?" And I was quite chuffed about it. Brendan, what do you think?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. That was when I heard Casey Accidental. I felt like, I think this works for me. I had been through like 4 different bands, had 4 different record deals, had various involvements in each group, and nothing was really, there was never anything I was in where I said, this group is going to be, this is the one. Whereas I felt like when we started with Broken Social Scene, it felt like a much more real, just something that felt like honest.
There you go. Yeah. That's the word. That's going to be the word of the interview.
Honest. All right, so let's jump right into the new record. It's your first record in 7 years, long time. Talk about why you guys wanted to release the new album and what were your expectations for it, after not releasing one for quite some time.
Within the idea of the times that we live in, within the struggle that's going on, we wanted to come back unified as friends. We wanted to come back. Brendan really helped put this band back together. We were doing some shows, and he said, let's do some new material because we'll enjoy it more. And we really wanted the purpose of spirit behind us. And we felt that in the protest of these times, it was our move to come back as friends and show that we're still together as we have been such a huge crew and family. And really, it's just getting to the people and being with the people that I think was the driving force. B, can you speak to that, attest to that?
As far as the reason for doing this again?
Just coming back.
Yeah, I think it just feel like we had some unfinished business. When all is said and done. I think we still like the process of making music together, and I think we can all stand behind the latest record, and I think it landed us in a pretty decent space. We haven't become overnight sensations, and at the same time we've also landed back where we kind of finished off. So it's like a continuation with a little detour along the way, making some of our own music that doesn't have the banner of Broken Social Scene hanging above it.
Now, the band has as many at times 17 members and as little as 6 members. That's obviously a lot more than your average band. Talk about the process of dealing with writing a record with so many different voices and so many different ideas kind of going into it.
You just try not to get in the way of it. You try to make sure everybody's heard. I think because we're so much older, when you have nothing to lose, we sort of thought, okay, what we had to lose was, would people care so much if we came back? But at the same time, together it's so enjoyable that we just wanted to, I think, have everybody sort of in some way or another have a voice on this album. And because we had so many projects, everyone was fine with doing what they wanted to do within the creation of this record. We got in rooms, we played, we wrote, we played, we wrote in the studio. We had great people working with us, Joe Ciccarelli, Niall Spencer. We were up at a house so that we were living together, waking up together, having dinners. It was a joyous time, a wonderful summer. and there was a lot of swimming and love, and it just sort of came together.
Summer and a winter.
Summer and a winter.
And a spring.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
It's you gotta just not get in the way of each other,
Or not get in the way of the music.
Yeah, the music.
If you're a band that's supposed to be unified, then you can look at a song and say, okay, I know my strengths. I'm going to push as much as I can for what I feel it should go. But then you realize you got other people who are going to chime in and it's like, oh, you know what? They've got a strong voice that needs to be heard as well. So
it worked out really. It really worked out. It really. It was.
It could have been disastrous.
It could have, but that's what our that might be the title of our book.
It could have been disastrous.
But it wasn't. And the egos and the spirit and the hearts, we've been through so much together, close to 20 years that, and some of us I've known people in this band since I was a teenager, since I was 14 years old. So you go with the friendship, you have an understanding of each other, you know what the conversations and the opinions are going to be about, but also you have a muscle memory together of melodic history, which is, it's just undeniable. So it makes it easy.
Now, you guys kind of mentioned this earlier in the interview. You came back, especially in these times where our country is very divided. But talk a little bit about some of the themes you wanted to express and get out with this record particularly.
Well, I think we all wrote lyrically without, was very unified lyrically without sitting in the room together. And I think that's because it's very simple to see the disconnection that's going on around us. And we coming back to America for us has been incredible because this country gave us and so many of our friends such a career. And these are stressful times, but times that we believe you guys are going to get through. We really do, and we're really here to say thank you for all that you've done for us. You're an incredible country, and you don't need to be divided, and you just have to hold on. This is the message that we say going out and doing this. And Hug of Thunder, for me, is just sort of, because all albums are a form of protest for us, for sure, and it's to remember that connection is owned by you. It's owned by those around you. And the noise that comes and surrounds you and takes over has no place, really, inside the heart. So you try not to go into the self-help world of living, but I believe this division that is happening in your country will come to an end because it has to. You don't really have much choice. The direction of going towards the ultimate negative ending is just, it's not an option for any of you. And what that means is the patience and the tolerance has to just extend a little bit longer until you guys figure out what's going on. And it's not about Democrats or Republicans, it's about people, because you can all do this together with the politics that you believe in. But right now, unfortunately, you have a disease of narcissism that is just actually showing so many people that it was kind of unnecessary.
Now, it's been 6 years since you guys announced a hiatus. At the time, you were widely popular. We heard some individual stuff come out every now and then, but it would have been easy for you guys to just be like, we're going to be on a hiatus, we're going to kick back, and then we never see you guys again as a group. We've seen it before with different bands. Was it always your plan to kind of come back after some time off?
In my estimation, it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, after so many years of, making an album, going and touring more, chipping away at another record, that continual process can sort of, grind you a little bit. You're spending way too much time with one another that is, a healthy amount of time. You're just not supposed to be in close quarters like that the whole time. And things start to fray a bit, and you just need to really just see what your life is all about. Outside of a band, because you don't want your band to define who you are, but ultimately it's like, people will recognize you and say, hey, that's a guy from Broken Social Scene, or but it's good to just sort of see, it's like, okay, well, I'm gonna front my own band and see how that feels and see what kind of reactions I get, and sit in different chairs. And I think everyone had an opportunity to do that and do a lot of different things that you have to grow as an artist. You can't just be Kramer on Seinfeld for the rest of your life, So that's,
That would not
No, but a hiatus, it's just like
We live.
Yeah.
That's what we do. We live. And I think that's worked against us at times, but we're still here and we're making it work at a time where art's becoming so disposable and music is becoming so disposable and the middle class is dead and you are climbing a mountain. And people say, what's next? I say, we're still climbing. And you try to help others out as you do it, and you hope that you're bringing something to people's lives that they can at least put in their back pocket and hold on to. Without that addiction to the instant gratification, you hope you can remind people what it is to actually be in a room together, to be with each other, and to feel that feeling. We all look to transcend. The dopamine addiction of social media is really, as we all know, becoming a serious issue. Transcendence is where the purity lives, and that's where you can go with live shows if you just close your eyes and feel it, or you can, and it doesn't matter if it's 35 seconds, that can be an eternity if you want to feel something. So it's just about trying to remind not only ourselves but everyone around us that this is what the balance of joy is supposed to be in these times of chaotic aggression, of anger, and multiplications of too many fingertips typing out words and thumbs up and thumbs down.
All right, I have 2 more questions for you guys. I want to talk a little bit about the tour. First off, what's it been like to tour again? And what's it like to connect with your fans these days? Especially because there's a new wave of Broken Social Scene fans that are coming on just from this album. And then you have some of the old guys who've been following you since early 2000s, late 1990s.
We welcome and want new faces out. And the ones that come back, we're very grateful that they are. We work very hard to just try to let people know that we're even in the cities. We've played towns and people have written us and said, when are you coming to our town? We were there a month ago. There's just so much that you fight so hard to get through to let people know where you are. But I've enjoyed touring a lot, and I know that we do it for the people. B?
Yeah, I mean, we showed up to Austin, Texas. We hadn't been there in 7 or 8 years, and there's 16 or 1,700 people out there, and it's a cross section. I'm looking in the front row, and there's folks in their early 20s, and then you look a little bit further, and there's folks in their mid 30s, and it's nice to come back. It's nice to play the rooms that we were playing in 2011 or 2012, and continuing the journey.
There's a great song by Do Make Say Thing called Return and Return. Is it Return and Return Again?
I don't really know.
It's the last song on their new record, and it's beautiful because it captures that element of returning.
All right, my last question. Yeah, I mean, I keep hitting this like a dead horse here, but first album in 7 years. Everyone wants to know what's next. And you mentioned this earlier, you guys are going to keep climbing, but any plans in the works for the future?
We got more music coming. Down the pipes sooner than later, and it's sort of all over the place. We think we're going to be doing a collection of singles, but you're the first to hear of that, Danielle. You are the first.
It's foreseeable that we could put something out in 2019.
Well, no, I think we're going to have something coming out quite soon.
Oh, yeah, 2018, sorry. We're still in 2018.
Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel. Forgot what year I'm in.
All right, guys. Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Kevin Drew pointed that out. Broken Social Scene pick up their latest album, Hug of Thunder, and be on the lookout for some new stuff coming in very soon, hopefully. Kevin Drew and Brendan Canning, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for giving me a few minutes.
Yeah,
Come
pleasure,
on.
pleasure.